I think martial arts also is very much of a learning tool because, like you've done fights, everybody goes, oh, I'm this, I'm that. I'm like, oh, let's see what you're really like when your lungs are on fire, your arms feel like they weigh 500 pounds, your head's ringing, you can barely see straight because you got kicked in the face and you still got 2 more rounds to go, or you could tap and quit and we can go ahead and you can go home. You can turn this off, you know that, right? All this pain can stop, you could stop it. Are you willing to stop it or are you willing to go through it, And so again, the martial arts is very much like a forge that I wanted to always melt my sword in, my spirit, and I'm trying to figure out a less lengthy way to put this, but I tell people if you give a sword sentience, if you looked at a sword and you made it sentient, it had a voice, a mind, it could talk, and I said, hey, what is the worst time of your existence? It'd be probably the forging process. Right? You're like, oh, I was a piece of steel and this, or whatever, iron or ore, and I was beaten and pounded, and I'm like, that was probably an extremely painful process. The sword would be like the most painful of my life. But without that, the sword wouldn't have been the sword, right? I mean, he's a weak piece of ore that's useless, but you forge him in fire and it becomes a sword. And that's what I use martial arts, and that's what the Rhino for me was, very much of a spiritual forge.
Wow. I'm trying to think of all the different refiner's fires that I could think of that made me, and those sucked. It's like, you're
no, bro, I don't want to tell your stories, but some of the stuff you've told me, it's kept me up at night sometimes, running through my head going, God, man, for a kid to have to go through that, you know what I mean? Like, again,